Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Kris. I didn't mean to start out this way. I was going to do, this is Atun-Shei Films, his Checkmate Lincolnite series. I saw something about Sherman. As I said in the Sherman video, which will be out later, I want to visit his grave. Just looked him up on YouTube to do a video. Saw that one. Did 2 parts. Thought it was funny. Found this series, and now I'm going through them in order. This is the 3rd one. And this is, he plays, I don't know if you've seen him, he plays both characters. And it's been funny. Kind of interesting. But I didn't mean to keep going on this, but I'm enjoying them, so I'm just kind of rolling with it. This will be my 5th one tonight. So, but we're gonna go ahead and do this one. Tariffs and Taxes: the real cause of the Civil War? ? Exclamation point.
Give her a kiss. Really, Sean? Yeah, come on, give me a kiss, big boy. Ooh, you're making me wet.
Hey, what's up?
Atun-Shei, sir. It is time to make another episode of Checkmate Lincolnites, our wildly unpopular internet show.
No, man, no. I am done talking about the Civil War.
Oh, come on now, sir. Everybody wants you to do it.
I don't care. I used to think that my Civil War videos could do some good, you know, but nobody's minds are getting changed. They either think I'm a Yankee butthurt soy boy or the second coming of hippie Jesus. You know, there are some people out there who call me a bread tuber.
Bread tuber? Does that refer to Vino Farm's early content?
No, apparently it's just liberals who make YouTube videos.
Well, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
I know, I'm just so over it.
Oh, come now, sir. Well, that's no fun for anybody.
No, I mean it, man. I'm done. Just let me make my weird homoerotic Nazi videos in peace. Jesus.
What?
I'm sorry you feel that way, sir. I suppose I'll have to do it myself. And I can tell everyone how the War of Northern Aggression was fought over tariffs and taxes.
Uh-oh.
I'm on my way.
Can't be safe.
What you got there?
Oh, it's just a delicious bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm playing the whataboutism drinking game. Basically, whenever you try to divert the conversation by pointing out something bad the Union did, I take a drink.
That's ridiculous. You Yankees do that just as much as we do. Checkmate Lincolnites! The program where we annihilate academic historical consensus in favor of true history, which my grandpappy revealed to me one Lee Jackson day after he had consumed an entire 12-pack of Natty Light all by himself. Tonight, we shall reveal the true reason for Southern secession.
Preserving slavery.
I apologize that you can't see his face. I can't move it down, and so it is what it is.
Yeah, Civil War.
Hold on. Go back. He said something.
Secession.
Preserving slavery.
Yeah, Civil War was fought over slavery. Not that the South was paying 80% of the taxes of the entire nation.
No, they weren't.
What?
Cat got your tongue. Can't think of one of your pithy comebacks?
No, I'm just trying to process what you just said. So that's not true. It's not even close to truth. It's not in a 50-mile radius of truth. Like, if you dropped an atomic bomb on truth, what you just said wouldn't even have radiation burns. See, in the days before the Civil War, income taxes, property taxes, sales taxes, those weren't really a thing. So when you're saying taxes, you're referring to tariffs on imports, which is how the federal government made its money. We actually have a record of most of the foreign goods imported into the United States just before the war in the annual report of the Chamber of Commerce of the state of New York. The report shows that from July 1859 to June 1860, $233.7 million worth of foreign goods were brought into the port of New York, of which $203.4 million were subject to tariffs. During that same time period, all other American ports combined took in just $128.5 million worth of goods, of which $76.5 million were subject to tariffs. The numbers don't lie. New York merchants were single-handedly paying 63.5% of all the federal government's revenue that year.
Wow.
And it wasn't just some anomaly. New York had provided nearly 2/3 of the government's revenue in the previous 5 years as well. That city was the government's biggest cash cow by a huge margin, followed only distantly by Boston in second place and New Orleans in third. Hey, did you listen to a word I just said?
The South left because of the Moral Tariff. The Union killed Indians and exiled Jews. Look up Judah P. Benjamin, the Jewish Confederate.
Brush your teeth in 30 seconds with this incredible $89 device. This is an extremely high-tech, $600 professional tooth cleaner. Dentists are calling it the next best thing.
Okay.
But why did the Federals fight? The Yankee mercantilism that was gonna be in trouble if the South won its independence. Oh no! They would have a next door competitor charging a 10% tariff compared to the Moral Tariff of 40%. There you go. Checkmate Lincolnites. That's the name of the program.
You want to talk about the Moral Tariff? Let's talk about the Moral Tariff. Put very simply, it was a reaction to the Panic of 1857 and was meant to jumpstart the nation's struggling economy.
It may have aided your Hamiltonian industries, but not our Jeffersonian agriculture. Y'all were just trying to develop your New England factories into something that would rival the profitable and well-established factories of Britain. Meanwhile, you had Pennsylvanians in particular, but many northern industrialists, petitioning the government to make it more favorable for them, financially beneficial for them. The whole affair reeked of nepotism and corruption.
Yeah.
Furthermore,
You're right.
I am?
Yes, that is what happened.
Wait, we actually agree on something?
Yes, the Moral Tariff was unquestionably favorable for northern interests and detrimental to southern ones. But it wasn't passed through Congress until March of 1861. And if southern states hadn't started seceding in December of 1860, then there's no fucking way it would have gotten passed. So rather than being the cause of secession, the Moral Tariff happened as a result of secession. In any case, it was just one of many grievances that Southern Democrats had with Northern Republicans. The principal one was the Republican stance on slavery.
Saying the Civil War was only about slavery is ignorant. The Civil War was extremely complicated. What about the Tariff of 1861?
I literally just
Or the
talked
dozens of newspapers speaking of a tax war. Most historians agree that the Civil War was too complicated to tear. What about the 70% of men who didn't own slaves and fought for what?
Well, at least you got the percentage of slave owners right this time. Those newspapers you're referring to were mainly British rags, like the London Times. The Brits, they had a vested interest in keeping that transatlantic cotton trade going to fuel their own industries. Naturally, they sided with the Southern Democrats, who were all about free trade, and they shared their criticisms of the Moral Tariff, which was extremely protective. The Confederate government desperately needed British assistance if they had any hope of winning the war, so they encouraged that myth that the war was being fought over taxes, Britain, of course, being very anti-slavery at the time. But some British abolitionists knew better. The philosopher John Stuart Mill wrote an opinion piece in a pro-union newspaper in 1862, in which he correctly stated,
"There is a theory in England that on the side of the North, the question is not one of slavery at all. The North, it seems, have no more objection to slavery than the South have. Their leaders never say one word implying disapprobation of it. They are ready, on the contrary, to give it new guarantees, to renounce all that they have been contending for, to win back, if opportunity offers, the South to the Union by surrendering the whole point. If this be the true state of the case, what are the Southern chiefs fighting about? Their apologists in England say that it is about tariffs and similar trumpery. They say nothing of the kind. They tell the world and they told their own citizens when they wanted their votes that the object of the fight was slavery. The world knows what the question between the North and South has been for many years, and still is. Slavery alone was thought of, alone talked of. Slavery was battled for and against, on the floor of Congress and in the plains of Kansas. On the slavery question exclusively was the party constituted which now rules the United States. On slavery, Fremont was rejected. On slavery, Lincoln was elected. The South separated on slavery, and proclaimed slavery as the one cause of separation.
He goes on to predict that as the war continued, the cause of preserving the Union would become inseparable from the cause of abolishing slavery. That came to pass when Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. After that, as a direct result of that, the British public became very uncomfortable with the idea of supporting the Confederacy.
In your eagerness to blame white people in every video you make, you've forgotten about the Nullification Crisis. South Carolina nearly rebelled during Andrew Jackson's presidency over just such a protectionist tariff.
And he threatened to kill every single person in the state.
That's true, but as John C. Calhoun himself pointed out in 1830,
I consider the Tariff Act as the occasion, rather than the real cause of the present unhappy state of things. The truth can no longer be disguised, that the peculiar domestic institution of the southern states, and the consequent direction which that and her soil have given to her industry, has placed them in regard to taxation and appropriations in opposite relation to the majority of the Union.
So in summary, protective tariffs were a big point of contention between North and South leading up to the Civil War, but it was ancillary to and directly influenced by the South's dependency on slave labor, which they would do anything to preserve and defend.
You can eat shit. If the North was so damn noble, why did the same damned army that invaded the South kill the American Indians? Sounds like bullshit to me.
So we're back
Why
on
don't you
this
have a
point
debate with a
then.
real person instead of playing with yourself? Stop whining, because we have had so much pro-union, one-sided crap. You get triggered when the Tiger side is allowed to have their say. The South U.S. everywhere south of the Canadian border. Both sides were pro-slavery. The Confederacy just never lied about it. Now I'm gonna bring some Confederate flag waving, hick hop tub and black dance party.
Wait, did we run out of comments?
Tubbs creating the ultimate dilemma.
I think we ran
You
out
can
of
pretend,
comments.
you can
Listen, man,
claim that everybody
go.
flying the rebel flag is racist.
You know, have a meaningful connection with human beings.
But we enjoy hip
Play
hop
outside or some shit.
over that mumble
I'll see you
rap
later.
BS
Bye.
nowadays. I feel like that went well.
Yeah, when the South Carolina had threatened to secede, John C. Calhoun was Andrew Jackson's vice president, and Jackson lost his mind and threatened to go in there and hang every man, woman, child, and probably even pet from every available tree branch in that state, and then burn the entire state and start fresh. And when he ran for re-election, Calhoun, I think, probably knew it would be wise to not be vice president, and that was how Martin Van Buren got in. And Jackson was later asked, "What's your biggest regret?" And he said that I didn't kill my vice president, referring to Calhoun. So he hated Calhoun for that. But that's all unrelated. Well, I'm going to end this here. I like this. There's quite a few of these. I'm going to get to them. I'm not going to do them tonight, though. I'm done. I'm going to relax. Anyways, like and subscribe, or murderer. Have a good day. Have a good night.